All right, hello. Today is June 17th on a Wednesday. I'm here with my friend Haley, whom I'm going to be doing the interview with. Me and Haley, we have known each other for, um, I guess, probably like 20 years?
Probably 20 years.
Yeah, at least 20 years. So we grew up together and at the same babysitter, so we know a lot about each other, but maybe some stuff I don't know from these questions. So I'm just going to be asking her some 10 questions kind of about friendship and like the qualities and values that she has about them with some of my take. But yeah, so here it goes. So question number one is, I know that you love to cook. And so do I, and that's something that we share in similar interests. But what would you say that your favorite thing to cook is?
Can I say bake, or does it have to be cooking?
Anything. Yeah, anything.
I would prefer baking over cooking, I think.
Yep.
Which I do like to cook, but sometimes it's hard for me to get meals thought of and prepared. So I prefer baking, just because I like the process better. I like that we have to measure everything out exactly the way it needs to be, and it really is like a chemistry to it. So I think my favorite thing to bake would have to be a pie.
Oh, okay.
And I guess you kind of have to cook down the filling, you know, depending on what pie you make. But I like to make my own crust and all that jazz.
Yeah. All right, so I predicted that you would say that about baking. So my next question would be, even though you said a pie, is thinking about a cupcake. And it was, if you were a cupcake, what flavor cake and icing would you be?
I think I might have to just pick strawberry, because I used to make strawberry cupcakes. I used to call them cupcakes. I used to make strawberry cupcakes with my Aunt Mary, and that is a childhood memory that I have. And icing would probably be like a cream cheese frosting.
No, I agree. I kind of was thinking for myself some kind of maple bacon.
Ooh,
I love bacon, but the sweet of the maple, I don't know. I love cupcakes and all that. But anyways, so this kind of goes along sort of the baking, because I know that you love to do that and you're pretty passionate about it. But if you could choose one thing that you are passionate about, what would it be and why? I know that you really like your work and you're a big family person, but what would you have to choose?
I think I'm passionate about trying to make people's days special at times. Like if it's someone's birthday or a holiday, I'm passionate about making them feel special and reaching out to them through a card and writing out all the things that I love about them and why I appreciate them as a friend or family member.
Yeah, you're great at doing that. All right, so this is I thought this was kind of funny and interesting to ask. I found this question online. I was like, well, I'll have to ask you this. So looking at relationships, what would you say the biggest first date fail or worst experience that you've ever had?
Let's see. Well, I think
that you just walked in or something happened, you're yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think paying attention to that person and if there's ever a long period of silence and you guys don't have anything to talk about, especially when you first meet up with someone, that's not the best thing. But then once you get comfortable with each other, I guess silence is okay. But I'm a person that likes to keep talking and keep the conversation flowing, so I guess that would be something I didn't really like.
Absolutely, that's awkward.
Or if we're out in a restaurant or something, I always look and see how they treat the waiter or waitress. because I think that can show a lot about a person too.
Yeah, absolutely. So questions like 5 and 6 are kind of combined, but for question 5, what do you like most about your appearance, and what do you like least about your appearance?
I like my smile,
yes.
and I get a lot of compliments about that. And then least, I would have to say like my hair, I think. Just appearance-wise, like I think it's interesting because both my parents have real thick, curly, like luscious hair, and I have thin, straight hair, which I think I got from my grandma.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. I just don't really do much with it, so I probably could do a little more, but it doesn't bother me that bad. But
yeah. So then to follow up with that for question 6, what do you like most and what do you like least about your personality?
I like that I'm a caring person, and I pour my heart out into everything I do. I feel like. Especially with the NICU babies at work. I feel like that's a good profession for me. I can really use my strength in that. And then a weakness of mine, and like a personality trait that I don't really like about myself, is I tend to overcomplicate things sometimes, and don't take the easy way out at times. I overthink things. And it just makes everything more difficult for me and sometimes other people. So.
Yes. All right. So, for the next question, like this kind of made me think about how you went to VCU and like had a different experience from like how we've grown up and how your like hometown friends like were in retrospect to like the qualities that they had. So just like as a broad like perspective on both like looks, like what do you personally like look for in a friend?
So I want them to feel comfortable with me, and I want them to be like a real person. I find that I'm like gravitated more towards those types of people instead of fake people. I really enjoy the friends that communicate with me frequently, like you, Melanie. You know, we talk pretty frequently, and then me and my friend from Richmond, Sarah. So I think that that's a pretty huge factor for me. And just being yourself.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah, I think too that like trustworthiness within a friend, like develop that is like a huge like quality to be able to like build like a good foundation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that kind of was like my next question, like how do you like have that feeling like in your gut, or like how do you know, or how have you been taught to know like when it's just time like to like maybe like cut off that friend, or like that you can't trust them anymore, or
so yeah, I did have a friend at VCU, Alexis, that we like were really close at first. We were pretty different from each other, and I think like we could learn from each other. But she caused a lot of drama, and there seemed to be always something wrong with her. And so I felt like she needed, some criticism at times, because I think that's what good friends do. You want to lead them in the right direction. And I think sometimes she wasn't, in my opinion, going down the right path. And I would tell her that because I was very close with her. And she didn't really appreciate that and kind of backed away from me because of that. And so I realized that we just maybe didn't need to be friends anymore.
Well, you gotta give a little and take a little, that's what makes each other better, especially as you get older. So the next 2 questions I have are kind of like fun questions. Like I love doing like would you rather. And so since you just got like your little puppy, which you maybe can hear,
she's chewing in the water bottle right now.
But I thought that it would be cool to ask you, would you rather adopt a sloth
Oh my.
or a hedgehog? And why?
Oh,
like, what would the qualities of one?
Well, a sloth I could really like pick up and it could hang on me. But they would not move very fast. And that would be a little weird to me.
Yeah.
A hedgehog, I'm not really sure what all they do, but I don't think you could really pick that up easily.
Yeah, quickly. The one I've seen before, it like got scared and it like tensed up and it's like pricklies were like, well, yeah, you couldn't like rub it.
It was afraid. So I think out of the two, I might pick a sloth. And then they could grow plants on them.
There you go.
Oh gosh.
So lastly, like if you could do anything for the rest of your life, whether it be like with your job, with like where you live, anything, like what would it be?
I think one of my dreams, this is really for a vacation, but I could see me doing life like this too. Living in a tree house and somewhere tropical.
Yes.
And I think it'd be fun having a zip line. You can zip line everywhere.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
I went zip lining in Costa Rica one time. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it was fun.
All right, well that concludes our interview. Thank you for doing this.
Yes, thank you.
And being a participant.
Of course.
So now to answer the questions that Dr. Sawyer has given me for the immediately after. For the first question that I'll answer for after the conversation, like the strengths and weaknesses of this experience. I think some of the strengths of this experience were that I knew Haley prior to this for many, many years, and like at the beginning of my questions that I wrote down, like I could kind of predict like what she was gonna say to be able to move smoothly into the next question. So I thought that like worked really well, and our conversations just like fed really well off of each other. I don't think that there was any like particular weakness since I did know Haley, but I could see if you didn't know the person that the questions, like moving from question to question, might be more chunky. But overall, like I think that the experience went really well. Something that I've like learned about interviews, especially with the audio, it was kind of awkward at first, even though I know Haley really well, like just like talking and, you know, not wanting to sound silly into the audio. But other than that, like, I think the experience went really well. There's like some things that Haley said that like I like knew about her, but I don't really like think about on a daily basis. And so just to hear like stuff, hear the people say that in an interview experience kind of brings it back to life, and I feel like you can be more acceptable to what they're saying. The most difficult thing for me in this interview was, I don't really know. I mean, I think that like when it comes time, I guess I'll base this question off of our inquiry when we're in practicum. Like I think the most difficult thing will be like not knowing really the relationship of the person that you're interviewing. Like if I'm interviewing the teacher, like, you know, I will just have known them and only know them for a short amount of time, and that relationship hasn't really fully formed like mine and Haley's relationship has been. So I think taking into consideration, like, one, how you word the questions, and two, how you like take their questions to heart, like, is really important, and to be able to learn a lot from them. And especially since my inquiry is on behavior management, like taking their advice and what they've learned from and really using it to help me in the future, I think is like is kind of like the most difficult, because you know, we like have read about all this research and stuff, and like they might be telling us differently, so just knowing like what to listen to. For the next question, like would I change anything? Honestly, no, I don't think I would change anything. I really liked opening up the interview with like a more loose question and ending it with a more fun and loose question, just to kind of digress the like intensity of like the couple middle questions. But I think it went well. And how does this apply to the need for your inquiry